learn. So let us proceed, and then we will be able to learn everything. Okay. So let us move on. Yeah. It is pretty hard, but only after hard tests, easy tests will come. And easy tests are not because the test was easy. Easy tests are because you know it. Tests are difficult, so difficult only because you don't know it. Tests become easy because you know it. Okay. So let us move on. Meanwhile, I sent you 2 videos. Did you guys go through those videos? Did you guys have a look at them? I sent you 2 videos. Yeah, I sent you 2 videos. Same thing, atomic structure is the next full chapter. Yeah, in Learnity, I sent you 2 videos. Also, I put them in the group also. Yes, sir. How many of you saw them? Yes, there is a group. There is a separate group for 11th NEET students, girls. There's a separate group for 11th NEET student boys. Okay, so if you are not aware of it, then please go and call up this number. Call up this number. I will give you the number. Call up. Don't just send a message. One minute, I will give you the number. One minute. I'll just get that number. Wait. Wait a minute. I'll give you that number. Here is the number. 6374997903. You are going to talk to Kritika. So introduce yourself, tell her your details, and then she will put you in either one. There is a separate group for the NEET boys. There is a separate group for the NEET girls of 11th standard. Okay. So just a minute and we will continue. Just give me 1 minute and we'll continue. Okay, so let us proceed. Let us proceed and slowly we will learn. Okay. The key to learning is one, you guys making notes. Second, doing problems. Unless we work out problems, we don't really understand. You can see me working out as many problems, but that doesn't help. Okay. She is not a student. So will we have text next week, Saturday, Sunday? Because yeah, we will still have a test. Both days you won't have Eid. Eid will be there only on one day. So one day you celebrate, one day you write the test. Same portion, atomic structure. But otherwise, what I can do, Hussein, Akif, is I can have the test open on Monday also. So you can take it either on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Okay, so that you will get time for that. Okay, so let us move slowly. Let us move. So I have explained to you about photoelectric effect. Yeah, photoelectric effect. And what the photoelectric effect says is that light constitutes particles. Then the earlier theory said that light is a wave. And from there we get to the dual nature. So according to this dual nature, not only light, matter itself has dual nature. Sometimes it behaves like a particle, sometimes it behaves like a wave. So when matter behaves like a particle, its position is known. Its position is known. And when matter behaves like a wave, its momentum is known. Okay, and this is what constitutes Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which says that you can either know the position or the momentum of a body. And according to Heisenberg, we will just write down Heisenberg, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Uncertainty principle. Delta x into delta p is greater than equal to h by 4 pi. This they also write it as h bar by 2. What is h bar equal to? H bar is equal to h by 2 pi. So by 2, so 4 pi. So delta x into delta p is equal to h by 4 pi. This is uncertainty principle. Now what is delta x? Delta x is the uncertainty in position. And delta p is the uncertainty in momentum. Delta x is the uncertainty in position, delta p is the uncertainty in momentum. So that I can say is equal to m into delta v. Delta v is the uncertainty in velocity. Yeah, uncertainty in position, uncertainty in velocity. Okay, this is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. According to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, it is impossible to simultaneously find out the position and the momentum of an electron. It is impossible to simultaneously find out the momentum and position of an electron. Prajesh, now you please focus on the class. After the class is over, yes, class was very tough for everybody. It was the same paper and it was tough. We are going to get it clarified. We are going to discuss the paper and we are going to get it clarified. So hang on, have patience, everything will get cleared. So delta x is the uncertainty in position, delta p is the uncertainty in momentum. Make notes and then we will move. So everything will be cleared, don't worry. Okay, so first finish this. Once you finish this, then we will move on. What is h by 4 pi and the right of it? This h by 4 pi is also written like this, h bar by 2. H bar is equal to h by 2 pi. I'm saying they have, in some books they have written it like this. Then you should not say that sir didn't tell me what it is. Okay, this is the uncertainty principle. Okay, now if you understand this, let's write down some question. The uncertainty in position is 0.1 angstrom units. What is the uncertainty in velocity for an electron of given mass? Mass is given 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kgs. So what is it? Please work. Don't get disturbed by other thing. Yeah, will we have NEET problems in NEET like yesterday? Yes, you will have. Yes, there is a definition. The definition is it is impossible to simultaneously determine the position. Here is the definition. It is impossible to simultaneously determine the location and momentum of he told of electrons. So this is the uncertainty principle, not a question mark. This is the uncertainty principle. It is impossible to simultaneously determine the location and momentum. Simultaneously determine the location and momentum of electrons. If delta x is the uncertainty in position and delta p is the uncertainty in momentum, you will see this is greater than equal to h by 4 pi. So mathematically this is what it is. In English, this is what he said. So delta x. So I can now say momentum p is m into v. So delta p is basically m into delta v. So I can say m into delta x into delta v is greater than equal to h by 4 pi. Or I can say delta x into delta v is greater than equal to h by 4 pi m. So this is the delta x into delta v is greater than equal to h by 4 pi m. Okay, so this is the uncertainty principle. Here is a small numerical. Please work it out now. Please understand the importance of numericals. In the NEET paper, out of 45 questions, 20 questions will be very easy. Out of 45 questions in physics, 10 questions will be very easy, or 15 questions will be very easy. Out of 90 questions in biology, 50 questions will be very easy. So you will get 200 here, you will get 60 here, you will get 80 here. So totally if you add them, you will get 340. 340 will not take you anywhere except giving you mental satisfaction. Okay, your rank will now come from the rest of the 25 questions which are difficult, the rest of the 30 questions here which are difficult, and the 40 questions which are difficult. And from here you will have to get 200 plus. Okay, so this is where the difficulty starts. This part is not difficult. So if I have to motivate you to prepare for NEET, I will choose questions from here and say, look, hey, questions are so easy. But if you really want to get a rank which will give you a seat, you have to look here. Okay, so please work out the numericals. Don't be lazy. Don't think I don't know. Okay, uncertainty in position is this much. So delta x is equal to 0.1 angstrom unit. So that is 0.1 into 10 power minus 10 meters. So now all the values are given. So delta x into delta v is greater than equal to h by 4 pi m. H value is known, m value is known, 4 pi is known, delta x is known. I asked you for what is the uncertainty in velocity. So please find out delta v. Don't expect me to work it out. Please work it out and then get the value. All this is there in your own textbook. If you do my homework that I will give systematically, it will be enough. Today I will give you one sheet of homework with 7 questions, not 7, 11 questions. Please make sure that you are working on that. It is more than enough. What is h in the formula? H is constant. H is Planck's constant. H is 6.67, 6.6, 6. Into, you use 6.6, I'm not sure. I think it is 6.36. I'm getting confused just now. Okay, just a second. I'll tell you the value for h. Come with your textbooks. Don't come to the class just like that. If you have your textbooks, then it will work out. Just a minute, huh? Basically, yeah, 6.6 into 10 power minus 34 joule second. I just wanted to refer because I made a mistake with some other constant. So that is why I said I just want to refer. So I've told you delta x is equal to 0.1 angstrom unit. Mass is equal to 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kgs. I'm asking you to find out delta V. Yeah, so delta V will become equal to 6.6 into 10 power minus 34 divided by 4 pi into 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 into 0.1 into 10 power minus 10. So this will give me the answer. Okay, so I have to find this out. So this will give me 6.6 divided by 4 into 3.14 into 9.1 into 0.1 into 10 power minus 34 plus 31 plus 10. Yeah, so I can now find out. So if I have to find out, This is 0.1, so this will become 0.9, 0.9. So 0.9 into 3.1, 27. So I'll make this 3. Okay. So I'll make this 3. 4 into 3 will give me 12. 12. So I can now find out. So if I find out, it will be approximately 5.5 into 10 power minus 34. So this will become minus 3. So 7. So approximately 5.5 into 10 power 7. So that is the uncertainty in velocity. In velocity. Yeah, I made some mistake. Let me just check. Yeah, it is 12. So it should be point this much. I'm sorry. So it will be 5.5 into 10 power minus 6. Sorry, 10 power 6 meters per second. Yeah, so 5.5 into 10 power 6 meters per second. So that is going to be the uncertainty in velocity. Yeah. Yes, exponential calculations are tough, Murthy, but we have to learn it. So this is so the way you go ahead is understand that because it is minus in the denominator, when it goes up, it will become plus. Okay, so this 10 power minus 10 will go up and become into 10 power 10. 10 power minus 31 will go up and become 10 power 31. So now 10 power A into 10 power B into 10 power C will become 10 power A plus B plus C. So it is minus 34 plus 10 plus 31. So minus 34 plus 31 will give you minus 3. Minus 3 plus 10 will give you plus 7. So it becomes 10 power 7. So it becomes 0.55 into 10 power 7. And there will be good number of questions where there will be exponential multiplication. Also, the maths classes that are going on for you, even though you are NEET student, the maths classes are very important, especially the 11th standard maths classes. So please make sure that you are attending, even though you may be a pure science student, even then please make sure that you are attending the maths classes. It will help you. There will be a chapter on logarithms, it will help you. There will be a chapter on quadratic equations that will help you. So yeah, so please make sure that you are attending those classes. Even though you are pure science student, don't miss out on them. Okay, so if this calculation is done, we will move on. So basically the impact of Heisenberg's principle. So the impact of Heisenberg's principle is that now people did not say that an electron is here. They only said that there is a chance of finding out an electron, or there's a chance of finding an electron. Okay, so in defining a shell, saying that, or in defining an orbital as to a point where, or a location where an electron is found, they said an orbital is basically a three-dimensional space around the nucleus where the probability of finding, the probability of finding an electron, where the probability of finding an electron is high. Okay, an orbital is a three-dimensional space around the nucleus where the probability of finding the electron is high. Where the probability of finding an electron is high. Okay, so now you said that the s orbital is spherical in shape. Yes, because there is a sphere. I mean, this area, the probability of finding the electron is very high. So it is spherical in shape. So that is why the shapes of orbitals came up. Shapes of orbitals is mostly to do with the the azimuthal quantum number Okay, the shapes of orbitals comes from the azimuthal quantum number. In the next class, we will be looking at the shapes of the different orbitals and we will be discussing the shapes of the given orbitals. But right now, please understand why the quantum theory came up. Okay, so the quantum theory came up because one, people started saying that electrons are not particles but have dual nature. Okay, then Heisenberg said about his uncertainty principle, delta x into delta p is greater than equal to h by 2 pi, sorry, 4 pi. Okay, based on all this, you had Schrödinger, who came up with a wave function. Schrödinger, who came up with a wave function. Now, this is a complicated thing. I also don't understand it. What I don't understand, I memorize. Okay. So this is all not required for you. This is beyond PhD. Only if you're doing beyond PhD in atomic structure, you will need it. But what we need to understand is Schrödinger came up with something called as a wave function. Now, this is a wave function. The square of this wave function kind of tells us the probability of finding an electron, probability of finding an electron in a certain space. This is called the wave function. Wave function, the square of the wave function gives the probability of finding an electron in a certain region in space. Probability of finding an electron in a certain region in space. Probability of finding an electron in a certain region in space. Now, this is what gave rise to orbitals and shapes of orbitals. We will learn this in the next class. Before that, I told you that the angular momentum of an electron in any path mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. Okay, now in the quantum theory, they suggested a change to that. So now it is not equal to nh by 2 pi, but it is equal to L into L plus 1, root over of L into L plus 1 h by 2 pi. This n is replaced by L into L plus 1, where what is L? L is the azimuthal quantum number. L into L plus 1 h by 2 pi, where L is the azimuthal quantum number. So for s orbital, MVR, L is equal to 0. So if L is equal to 0, the angular momentum for s orbital is 0. For p orbital, L is 1. So it is root 2 h by 2 pi. For d orbital, it is the d orbital spd, d is L is 2. So 2, 3, 6, root 6 h by 2 pi. F orbital, L is 3. So 3 into 4. So root over of 3 into 4 h by 2 pi. So these are the angular momentum numbers, angular momentum of the s orbital, p shell, p subshell, d subshell, and the f subshell. There was a question of this in the exam yesterday. Angular momentum MVR is equal to NH by 2 pi according to Bohr's theory. That was a postulate of Bohr. MVR is equal to NH by 2 pi. So now that postulate was challenged and they said no, it is not NH by 2 pi, but it is L into L plus 1 under roots h by 2 pi, where what is L? L is the azimuthal quantum number. Yeah. Yes, this was asked in the exam. Yes, please make notes. Please make notes. Yeah. So make notes, then we will. Sommerfeld is what, who brought in this azimuthal quantum number? Somebody asked me what was Sommerfeld's contribution. Sommerfeld's contribution was that it's not just the shell number which is important, but it is also another quantum number which is important, which is the azimuthal quantum number, to find out what is the location or the shape of a orbital. So that was azimuthal's, that was Sommerfeld's contribution. Okay, so Sommerfeld did a lot of work on the orbitals, the shapes of the orbitals and all that. So it is basically Sommerfeld and Schrodinger's contribution. Schrodinger gave the mathematical proof for it. Okay, both of them did. Okay. The wave function is given by Schrodinger. Yes. Three-dimensional space. If there is a nucleus is there, means there is a lot of space around it, right? There's a three-dimensional space. Here is slide 8. Here is slide 9. Okay. Then. So let's look at a few more small things and then work. See, in hydrogen, this is the nucleus. This is the ground state. So here, the energy of the electron is minus 13.6 eV. Did you understand that we said total energy is equal to potential energy plus kinetic energy? Total energy is equal to potential energy plus kinetic energy. What is potential energy equal to? Minus k z e squared by r. What was kinetic energy equal to? Half mv square. In otherwise also we said mv squared by r is equal to k z e squared by r squared. Cancel these two. So half mv squared is equal to half k z e squared. Now, do you understand that in any shell, the potential energy is equal to, or the magnitude of potential energy is equal to 2 times the magnitude of kinetic energy? And did you realize the total energy is equal to minus k z e squared by 2 times r? So So kinetic energy is equal to magnitude of total energy. Kinetic energy is half kz squared by r. Total energy is equal to minus kz squared by 2r. So do you see that their magnitudes are the same? Yeah, so there were quite a few questions based on this yesterday. In the last NEET paper also there was a question, not only in the NEET paper, even in the JEE mains paper there was a question based on that. They gave the shell number of an electron and they asked what is its potential energy equal to. Yeah, so can we understand this concept? Can we understand that the magnitude of potential energy is equal to 2 times the magnitude of kinetic energy, and the magnitude, and that is equal to 2 times the magnitude of total energy. Potential energy is negative, kinetic energy is always positive, total energy is negative. Yeah, and kinetic energy is equal to total energy as far as an electron is concerned. Yes, can you please understand this concept? Notes we'll see tomorrow's class. Many questions were not asked. There's only, no, I had removed all the questions on notes. Nusrat, I don't know if the line is not clear. I don't know. According to the theory, the angular momentum, according to Bohr's theory, MVR is equal to NH by 2 pi. The quantum theory changed this. It changed this to L into L plus 1, root over of L into L plus 1 H by 2 pi. So according to the quantum theory, MVR, angular momentum, is equal to root over of L into L plus 1 H by 2 pi. Okay, is L into L plus 1 H by 2 pi. So now for d orbital, L is equal to 3. S P D F. This will happen in shell 1, n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, 3 and 4. So here L value is 3, L value is 2, L value is 1, L value is 0. So MVR, angular momentum, will work out to be 4, 3 root over into H by 2 pi. 4 into 3 is root over of 12. So it's root over of 12 H by 2 pi. Next class we will be reading about Sommerfield's theory. Okay, let me see. I had removed them. Actually, the notes questions, I had removed them because I have not yet taught them. Anyway, don't worry about it. Please come. I am not giving any gold medal to the topper. So please work on this. Please work on this. These were the simple questions. Even these, many of you have got it wrong. So work on this. Make notes here. Please make notes of this. Please focus. Don't worry about what was not there and all that. Focus on what was there. Yeah, if this is over, then I can move on. Yes, so the N is modified in quantum theory. Slide 9. Slide 10. There were at least 5 or 6 questions based on this yesterday. Then slide 11. Okay. So if you understand this, then let's move on. So we learnt in Bohr's concept. Bohr said if there is a nucleus here, if there is an electron here, or if there's a shell here, when an electron jumps from an outer shell to an inner shell, it radiates energy. So we learned minus 13.6 electron volt is the energy here. Suppose this is the K shell. Suppose this is the L shell. So the energy in the L shell is given by minus 13.6 divided by 2 square. So if an electron jumps from here to here, this is the initial energy, and the final energy is minus 13.6 into by 1 squared electron volt. Okay, final minus initial, so much energy is released. So it is minus 13.6 into 1 by 1 squared minus 1 by 2 squared. So much energy is released. Okay, so that is because it is released, it is coming negative. If it was absorbed, it would have been positive. So this is 1 by 4. So I'll get 3 by 4 into 13.6 EV. So into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. Now this 3 by 4 into 13.6 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 is becoming hc by lambda is equal to hc by lambda. Okay, because c by lambda is frequency, so that is equal to h nu. Yeah, so if I work on this, I will get 13.6 into 1 by n1 squared minus 1 by n2 squared. This is the energy released. This is equal to hc by lambda. So from here, I can say 1 by lambda is equal to 13.6. I'll convert everything into SI units, into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 divided by C H. H is how much? 6.637 into 10 power minus 34 into 3 into 10 power 8. Okay, this 1 by lambda is called wave number. This 1 by lambda is called the wave number. Okay. All this we have done before, just that you have forgotten it. Unless we revise, we'll forget. This 1 by lambda is called the wave number. Okay. Now let's try to work out how much this is. So this is 13.6 into 1.6 divided by 6.6 into 3 into 10 power minus 19 plus 34 minus 8. Into all this will be there. So now let me see if I can simplify this. So this will give me some 2.3 or 2.4. So I'll make it into 8 here, 0.8 here. 8 into 6 is 48, 8 carry over 4. So let me see. This won't be 2.4. So 13.6 divided by 6.6 to 13.2. So 0.4. So point you put. then 0, 0, then 40. Yeah. So it will be approximately 2.07. Suppose let's say 2.1. Okay. This 3 will make it 7. 7 into 6 is 42. Carry over 4. So approximately it will look something like it will be close to 100. Now look at it this side. 34 minus this 19, 27. So from 27, if you go to 34, 27 it is 10 power 7. So this value that you have here is what is known as Rydberg's constant. Okay, this value, this constant here is what is called as Rydberg's constant. You don't need to memorize the value, they will give you the value. But this is called Rydberg's constant. It is a constant. Okay, so you can say 1 by lambda is equal to R into 1 by N1 squared minus 1 by N2 squared. This is what is known as Rydberg's constant. Okay, so that is what is known as Rydberg's constant. This is what is known as the wave number. This value you remember is approximately equal to 10 power 5. Okay, so this is Rydberg's constant. So there were some questions based on Rydberg's constant. We discussed this, but you might have forgotten, thinking that it is not very important, but that is the way it comes in the exam. Yeah, you can, if you remember 109743, you can use. I have no problem. Kavipriya, this was discussed long time back. Okay, you will learn this again. You learn this. What you don't understand now, please memorize. I didn't say potential energy is equal to that much. I said potential energy is equal to minus kz e squared by r. We can't understand. That is the first chapter in your 12th portions. Second chapter in your 12th portion. So there is no way you can understand it. By my job is as a teacher is to tell you what you can understand now, understand. What you don't understand, memorize. So this is the potential energy. Okay, this is second chapter of 12th standard. So we will have to wait till then to understand it. That's why they don't teach atomic structure, but that is the second chapter. What can I do? So potential energy is that much, and then centripetal force mv squared by r is equal to kz e squared by r squared. That is electrostatic force is equal to centripetal force. Cancel r, you get the value for half mv squared. Half mv squared is equal to half kz e squared by r. So I said kinetic energy is equal to as much as you said. Okay. Yeah. So I hope I've been clear a little bit. Sir, in total energy is equal to P plus kinetic energy. Total energy is equal to no. No. You are wrong. You are wrong. One is negative, one is positive. Potential energy is negative. Lakshan, I don't know, Lakshan, how to answer your question. Which chapter are we reading? I should ask you to just leave the classroom. If you don't know which chapter we are reading also, then why are you here? So I just ask you to move out. Yeah, Rydberg's constant, if you can remember, it is great. If you can remember, it is great. No, they are not conceptually different. They are conceptually, how can atomic structure be different in physics and chemistry? They are all the same. Just that you need the background to understand it. Yeah. So anyway, so I will stop here. Your time for the next class is there. We'll move on from here. Yeah, this is the first slide. Second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 'Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, yeah. Bye. Yeah, first we will learn a little and then we'll discuss the question paper. Yeah. Yes, atomic structure only this one also. Tomorrow discuss. We learn a little, then we will discuss for the peron. So yeah. Okay. Bye.